Hello, I had quite a few messages over time asking me to go over the Ruger ranch rifle, the Mini 14, the Garand, also the M14, and the M1 Carbine. I don't have an M14 on the table, but I've got a Garand here, and the main things that people seem to want to know about are the relative action sizes. So this is the Garand. Quite a recognizable firearm, typical operating rod. Of course, these were fed by a clip, an en-bloc clip, and this is the Ruger Mini 14. This one people wanted to see because I guess not that many were sold in this configuration. It has the wood stock. The operating rod is a lot like the Garand, and you can see the action sits quite high in the stock, like the height out of the stock. The nose of the back is similar to a Garand, and I'm going to move these around in a minute. But here's what people call a Garand type rear sight, and you can see what they're referring to. So this is the one of the older Mini 14s, 223, and then this is obviously stainless synthetic. Same operating rod system, there's no change in that. Some people said the extractor changed and the ejection changed at some point with the Mini 14 and the Mini 30, but I couldn't show you that. I looked at these ones. I had a couple more around last week, but they're gone. And I forgot to check whether the extractors and ejectors were different, but people were saying some seem to throw the brass quite far. Anyway, on the Mini 30 ranch rifle, this is the biggest feature people are looking for these days. These fit the Ruger rings, and so scope mounting is easier. On this model, I guess Ruger envisioned people mainly shooting with iron sights, so you've got the aperture sight. You can get a sight that fits on, a scope mount that fits on the side. And then somebody else was telling me there are other scope mounts available. I don't know. I'm not sure how far you want to go to put a scope on a Mini 14, but I guess some people like that, and I guess a lot of people like the ranch rifle for that reason. Anyway, this one's 7.62 by 39. It has actually an excellent ghost ring aperture sight. The original one is fine as well, but it obscures more of the target. You don't see as much of the target with this version. And then, as some of you know, this is the M1 Carbine, my favorite, and people were saying that I should go over the sizes of these two. Some people were saying the Mini 14 is the same size as the Mini 30 ranch rifle, and Mini 14 same size as the M1 Carbine. Well, maybe in length, but you can see the M1 Carbine is a much smaller action, much lighter. And that's why the Carbine handles so well. And they all have, this is a button to hold the bolt back, the operating lever back. That's accomplished here on the Mini 30 and ranch rifle, and same on the Mini 14. People were talking about the barrel, and you can see here is the Mini 14 barrel. It's not really a fair comparison because this is a Mini 30, and I don't think there's that much of a difference in accuracy until you go to the target version. And I'm not sure if we can film the front sights, but you can see the original Mini 14 had a large blade front sight, and then actually this ranch rifle looks a lot like the original M1 Carbine, and the Garand you would probably know. So now what I'll do is just set these down so you can get another view of them. It's probably most useful if you see the actions, and there's not that much more I can say about them. A few people were asking me to show how they lock, and it's kind of self-evident. So I mean, here's the operating rod. It turns. This replaces the human hand. It just turns that bolt so the gas hits the piston, and that impact causes the operating rod to turn the bolt, which is the same as the Garand system, and that was the original This is the operating rod here. And this is a massive assembly. The gas on the Garand was tapped way up here. And on the Mini 14, the gas comes out of the barrel here. I had a couple of messages where the people didn't know that gas came out of a hole in the barrel, but it does. That's what gas operated means. And it doesn't cause any significant loss of velocity or anything. And the gas is easily managed. So those are the Mini 14 ranch rifle in 7.62 by 39, which everybody knows, same as the AK and SKS round. And then the, in some ways, humble M1 Carbine, but it's, I mean, easily the lightest of them all. And I have the easiest time hitting things with the M1 Carbine. It's almost instinctive shooting, and the action and the barrel are quite low in the stock. So I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it, but just a remarkable rifle. And of course the 30 M1 Carbine cartridge itself is very user friendly. I wish I could find, you know, cheaper bulk supplies, but I can't. Probably the 7.62 by 39 is the cheapest to own, because feeding these things you can buy crates of surplus stuff like 1,000 rounds and so on. And then this Garand, I just thought I should mention, is made by Beretta. It's in 308, and this one works great. I have another one that I probably should do a video on. One of you out there must know why Garands throw their clips early. That's what my other Beretta does, and I've replaced every spring and every part in there, and it still does the same thing. But I'll make another video on that. So I hope that answers your questions, and you know, entirely useful, very successful rifle. A kind of a benign looking firearm, and yet tremendously capable. You know, here it looks kind of more like a black gun, but it doesn't have to look this way. With a wood stock, most people wouldn't think this is something, you know, really out of the ordinary. And the M1 Carbine, it's so easy to own and use, just an excellent firearm for home defense or almost any purpose. And that round shouldn't be underestimated. It's probably not a deer cartridge, but it was never intended that way, although that's been done lots of times too. So that is it. Quick review. I hope I answered your questions like I said. And that is it for today. So thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.